Thank you for watching our video on why fluids are important. Shut the hell.
Yo, no, leave it. What are you?
Oh, shit.
This episode is brought to you by Squarespace.
This episode has been brought to you by Squarespace.
This video was supported in part by Squarespace.
This episode
is brought to you by
Squarespace. Thanks Squarespace for sponsoring this week's episode.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Aiden.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Devin.
Et aujourd'hui, on va parler de les fluides.
Et les propriétés des fluides.
Tout d'abord, nous allons parler de les propriétés de les fluides et comment ils fonctionnent.
Premièrement, tout ce qui est fluide est un fluide.
Deuxièmement, les fluides peuvent prendre forme de n'importe quoi.
Troisièmement, les fluides ont différents usages, comme arrêter l'acier pour rouler sur une voiture en la recouvrant de la peinture. Everything that can flow is considered to be a fluid, such as engine oil, water, and juice. These are all types of fluids because they can serve their own purpose, and they all flow.
Fluids can do many things, but one fascinating fact is that it can take shape of anything you put it in. An example is milk in a glass, or air in a tire.
Fluids have many other miscellaneous uses, such as oil. It's added to the engine of a car to decrease friction and to reduce noise, heat, and wear. In this demonstration, I'm going to be showing you guys how fluids can take shape of something. As you know, air is a fluid, and in this circumstance, tire is the container. Fluids can be held in a container, in this case, a tire. So, I'm going to pump it. As you know, the fluid, air, is going to be taking a shape in the tire. And that's how it works.
These are the three main properties of fluids. Everything that flows is a fluid. Fluids take the shape of which the fluid is carried in. And finally, all the miscellaneous uses to fluids.
Maintenant, on va expliquer comment les fluides peuvent transporter les solides.
Et les fluides dans les solides.
Les fluides peuvent transporter les solides dans beaucoup de façons.
Il peut être le ciment qui est fait de l'eau et ciment.
For this last experiment, what we will be doing is putting a leaf on the creek, and it will carry the leaf down the creek. This is called fluids carrying a solid.
So please,
Consider the following. In this experiment, I'm going to be showing you guys the density of fluids. These are the materials you're going to be needing. Dish soap, milk, maple syrup, an empty jar, and to really demonstrate it, you'll be needing a bottle cap, some popcorn kernels, and a dye. First, what you're gonna want to do is take your maple syrup and pour it into the jar. But this is a gem of a substance, so President's choice. Take your empty jar and slowly, it's empty, so just do that. Next, you're going to very slowly pour your milk. You're gonna want to put an equal amount of fluids. Next, you're gonna take your dish soap and really slowly pour it over your milk. Now, to really demonstrate to you, here are some objects to really show you. As you can see, the maple syrup is at the bottom because it's the most dense, and then it gets less dense and less dense. First, take your kernel and drop it in there. As you can see from the bottom, the kernels have dropped to the bottom. Take your dye and slowly drop it in there. I don't know if you can see it, but the dye would be floating on top of the surface of the milk. Next, take.
Guys at the bottom.
Oh, okay. Well, that was a fail. Next, take your bottle cap and gently just. It's floating. It was supposed to be the other way, but you know what? Don't worry. This was Devin in and out.
You can put wood pulp and water together to create paper. This process is called a slurry. Hydroseeding is also a slurry. The process of spraying a slurry of seeds, fertilizer, and sawdust to plant difficult to reach areas.
As you can tell, fluids are always around us, whether it's air, rain, or even the blood that flows in your veins. Fluids can carry other materials, which makes it very useful in many applications. For example, the white cytoplasm in your cells hold the organelles that allow a cell to expand, grow, and replicate.
The consistency and density of fluids could also affect things in our everyday lives. Without the density difference, you wouldn't be able to cook some of your favorite foods because oil is less dense than water. Same with solids on fluids. Styrofoam cup is less dense than ceramic cup. So, a styrofoam cup would float in water, and ceramic cup would sink.
In conclusion, when you mix solids and liquids together, you form something that's called a slurry. Fluids can carry solids too, like your cells. The density of fluids could change the outcome in our everyday lives. And lastly, the density of solids on fluids change the outcome of some situations too.
La finale topique est comment les trois matières changent sa forme.
Vous pouvez dire, le solide n'est pas un fluide.
Vous serez surpris de savoir que ce n'est pas vrai.
Fluids can become solids and gas depending on the way they changed. An example of solid to liquid is putting metal at a very high temperature to melt.
Fluids can be changed to a gaseous state when heated at a high temperature, like boiling water. But gas can also change to fluid in a process called condensation. But obviously you know that.
Science! Fluids becoming solids is very crucial in our everyday lives. Becoming almost half a man-made objects were fluids which are now solids. For example, cement, paper, and metal.
The way fluid becomes solid is when it takes shape of something and it dries or is heated. All fluids can take shape of something as long as it's in a container of some sort. In this experiment, we're going to show you how solids could become liquids and liquids could become gases. Firstly, we're going to start off with a hot glue gun. As you know, a hot glue gun stick is a solid, but when it is applied to heat, it can turn into a fluid, as demonstrated. Now, I'm going to be putting ice in a bowl and microwave it to show you guys how solids could become fluids. And it is in the microwave. As you can see, the solid, ice, is becoming a fluid when it is in heat. You can see that now. Now, I'm going to put water in a pot and heat it to show you that liquids can become gases when heated. As you can see, it's evaporating. Now you can see in this vertical shot, sort of, that the liquid is turning into a gas.
In conclusion, fluids have many different usages and functions. Being that it can take any shape, rise and descend, move solids, mix with solids, and many more.
Thank you for watching our video on the properties of fluids and why fluids are important.
We have learned that fluids can take shape of anything you put solids through fluids to create a slurry. And finally, how fluids change into all three stages of matter.
Thank you for watching our video and we hope you enjoyed. Fluids are always around us, whether it's rain, air, blood,
Sorry, you failed and tried to save yourself.
Welcome back to my video, and this video will be doing ASMR. Number 1, tapping on bricks. Oh, shoot, my watch.
Today, and then we'll make a call once we see where the weather is at 11:30. Thank you very much. Enjoy the last few minutes of your morning.
Alright, cool. Let's record now.
What is my line? Leave it.
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
Shoot that ball. Okay. Watch the profanity. They see me rolling.